Hi, welcome back to Justlivin Designs podcast. My name is Shannon, and this is episode number 17. Today is May 2nd. It's a Thursday at about 10:15 in the morning. Hopefully you guys don't hear the wind outside, but it's a very blustery day, so just have to make do. So welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me again. If you have been here before, or if this is your first time, thanks for coming along for the ride. This is where I do more like a traditional knitting podcast, where I talk about my knitting, some crocheting, and sometimes my design, sometimes not, other people's patterns, and a lot of different like small makers. And I talk about reading and watching and music buying if I've been to a record store, bookstore buying if I've been to a bookstore. That's part of the acquisitions, a little bit of life stuff, reading, watching, all that type of stuff. So yeah, I also have tutorials on this channel for my knitting designs. I am getting a few more basic ones up there. And some are specific to patterns, so you will only have a link in your pattern when you purchase it. Other ones are just generalized tutorials that you can use for lots of different knitting. I think that's everything. I don't know if I said I'm Justlivin Designs. You can find me on Ravelry as Justlivin or Shannon Larson. You can find me on Instagram as Justlivin Designs. I'll have everything linked down below that I talk about, including my link tree that has two other places to find my patterns like Pay, Hip, and Lovecrafts. I also have my Ravelry storefront down there. I have my Goodreads down there, and there is a local candle maker that I'm an affiliate with, and there's also a coupon code you can use to get a candle. I think that's everything, and everything I talk about I'll have linked down below. So I'm going to start with what I'm wearing, and then I'm going to talk about a new design that I just released, finished objects, works in progress, and then I'll go into the other parts of this episode. So all the super yarny stuff will be in the front end. All right, so what I'm wearing. This one is, man, I knit this in 2017. So this is Sunset Highway by Caitlin Hunter. I altered it because there's supposed to be like color work kind of, I think, almost on the elbow, if I remember correctly. And I did not put color work in. And then I did solid contrast color on a long cuff. And that's how I altered this one. I also changed the decrease rate because they were more billowy and I like more of a tapered sleeve. The bottom has short rows to make it drop down. But yeah, this is a lovely sweater. I love it. It's a fingering weight sweater. I wear it a lot in the spring and the fall because that's when fingering weight sweaters are nice. Today I think our highs are only like 50 and it's very blustery and overcast out there, so I figured a light sweater would be nice. This one I think I'll have it linked, the project page down below, so you can see all the yarns. But I remember having these yarns in stash for a while, and it's a mixture of like this color and this color I think are non-superwash, and then this is superwash and this is superwash. And I went to my LYS to pick out a main color that would go well with these, and that's where I got this speckly one. And I think this one's Neighborhood Fiber Co. I remember that much. But yeah, other than that, everything will be linked down below. All right, we'll go into my new design. I think I talked about this last episode or maybe 2 episodes ago. But I did release this design. I finished these up and before, so you've seen these before, but this is where I released. It's kind of like some of my basic sock designs. I have like the trusty top down and trusty DK socks that are not as expensive as my normal patterns, and they're just a good go-to sock pattern. This is another one in that framework. It has 8 sizes. It's for, it's called GHFSS socks, and that stands for Good Heel for Self-Striping Socks. So if you like the fit of a heel flap and gusset, but you don't like how it distorts your stripes when you're knitting self-striping, this heel won't distort the stripes nearly as much because the gusset is a lot smaller. It's still a quite deep heel as a traditional heel flap and gusset, but this one has a square turn. Let's see, do I have one out here? Yeah. Has a square turn at the bottom instead of a triangle turn, and that square turn makes a deeper heel turn than the triangle one, which makes the heel a bit deeper, but then it doesn't have as many stitches to decrease for the gusset. So this is out now. There will be a coupon code for a week going through May, what is it, 9th, because I usually do 7 days. So I'll have that down below with the pattern link for this one. And then, yeah, so there's other examples. I didn't pull out the shorty pair that I have in the pattern. You saw it, I don't remember, again, I don't remember if I showed these last week or if it was 2 weeks ago. Did I show it last week? No, it's 2 weeks ago, I think I showed them. Yeah, I showed them 2 weeks ago, or 2 episodes ago, so a month ago, because I record every 2 weeks. Yeah. But yeah, so if you want to hear a little bit more, see another version, but it's also on the project page. I've knit 2 other pairs since these, so that's part of the FOs. So last week this was a whip. This is my Coffee and Contemplation sock yarn. It was my April's Mystery from Stash sock yarn, and this one was from, I have Flock Fiber Studio, and it was called Coffee and Contemplation was a colorway. I had it in Stash for a very long time, but so I use the same heel, which is a heel flap and square heel turn, and just did it without, you know, one solid color. And it's a great heel for whatever you want. You don't have to put it with self-striping, but it's a really good heel for anything. So I do have the pair. Here's the other one. So yeah, I finished that one, and I wanted to have a pair that was like without self-striping so people could just see that it works. It's just a good standard heel to use for anything. And in the design, I do have a little note, if you don't change color, how to do the heel, a little bit, how to start the heel a little differently. So if you change the color for the heel or not, there's different ways to do it. And then I also I started and finished within the last 2 weeks, a pair of shorty socks for my daughter with that same heel. This one was Knit Picks Fleechy, which they don't have anymore, but the colorway was Wizard. And then it was a mini, I want to say it might have been Legacy Fiber Arts, but I'm not sure. It was a 20-gram mini. And I just had a 50-gram ball. These haven't been blocked yet, so you can see I did a 3x1 rib for the whole sock and a 1x1 for the cuff on this one. And this one I used the contrast for the cuff, heel, and toe, and I had enough for this size, and with the 20-gram mini, I think I only used 14 grams. The cuff is just over an inch tall, because these are shorty-ish. My daughter likes to wear high top Converse, and these are just tall enough for those high tops, and she wears them all summer long too, so she doesn't want super tall socks in the summer, but tall enough to get past her high tops. But yeah, so there's another pair of that design. All right, so that was 2 finished objects, plus part of the like new design release. I also finished a couple, at the beginning of April, I taught turn sock tubes into socks class at my LYS, the yarn bar. And I didn't finish my socks right away. the other sock, I do have both of them, but one of them's still at the yarn bar for them to use as a sample in for their sock tubes. But here's the second one. So this was, I still have some of the sock tube remaining. So here's the remainder of the sock tube. So where I split to get this second sock done, I just put in waste yarn, so I didn't have a needle hanging out there for a long time. So I have enough to make another pair of socks. I don't know if it will be enough for like a tall pair. Maybe I'll make a shorty pair for my daughter to go for her Converse. We'll see. But yeah, so this yarn was Round Mountain Fibers Alder Fingering, which is an 80-20 superwash merino nylon. And it was the colorway, I have the colorway Jumping Spider. And then the mini I used, or it wasn't really a mini, it was leftover sock yarn that I used, was Sweet Georgia's Tough Love Sock. I've had this forever in the colorway Slate. I love Sweet Georgia yarn. It's really good yarn. One of the LYS's that was in town, it's not here anymore, they carried Sweet Georgia. So I still have some yarn left over from when they were here, but I just use it usually for contrast, not generally for whole socks, just because they were really good solids. Yeah, so I finished that. I'll get the other sock back at some point in time. And then my other finished object, so this is a little bit of a spoiler, but not really. I did the Mystery Gnome Knit Along from Imagine Landscapes. She does this every spring. I think I did it, was it last year or 2 years ago? Whenever she did the one that was like really big, I did the really big one, and then I also made a smaller fingering weight version. So I made one out of bulky yarn and then fingering for that one. This one was meant to be with self-striping. There was a lot of dyers that put out kits. I have a lot of self-striping leftovers, so I just used leftover yarn, leftover self-striping in a mini. So the last clue came out on Monday of this week, which was what, the 29th of April? That was the final clue. If you haven't finished and haven't been spoiled and you are knitting this, look away. But here is my finished gnome. So I used Freckled Whimsy from the Wednesday Club. This is one of my favorite colors that she did in that club. It was the Nightshade Society. And then I used a mini that I had from an advent from years ago that was like a lot of different dyers put together, and this was Chasing Rabbits, this lovely tonal brown. And I just had some sort of like semi-flesh colored mini that I just grabbed for the nose and the hands, and then the beard I used Knit Pick Stroll Tweed, and like, was it some sort of, oh, I probably have it written down. I don't have it written down, but it's in my project page notes what I got. But yeah, I love him. He's got little feetsies, this one. And I did the bottom in the solid color just because I didn't feel like doing that. And that way I could, it actually took one stripe for my self-striping. I got the arms to match with one stripe. So they match, which is cool. Anyways, I love them. So I'm not going to put them behind me in case you were watching or you weren't looking. I might leave them up here later on though. But anyways, okay, he's gone. But yeah, I think the name of that was Nimble, and it was Gnome News is Good News. Newspaper guy or something. I don't know. She's always got funny little names for them. Now I have, I think, 3 gnomes total that I have at home. I made one last year for a Christmas present, and I'm gonna make another one of that one. That was the gnome pun intended that I wanted to. I really like the hat. I like the hat on this one too a lot too. All right, so that's all my finished objects. So I had 4 finished objects. with that, I'm going to kind of go through my April stats here, because that ended out my April. All those I finished in April. And I finished 10 items in April, which is ridiculous. But a lot of them were like smaller items like socks or the gnome, the sock tubes, you know, stuff like that. So my yarn that came in April, I added 720 grams into my stash. Out, I did make a little bit more out. It was 776 grams out. So yay, I'm still getting a little bit more out than in. Last month, I don't think I made it. Oh, I did have more out than in last month. Have I always? No, 1 month, it was February, I had more in than out. But overall, I'm still getting more out than in. So that's good. I gotta just keep it up. All right. Now I'm gonna talk about whips. And I'm gonna go through 3 of them right now. These ones I've been working on a little more actively. I have not added any. Last time I talked about, I started the Jethro cardigan by Tanis Lavelle, and I haven't made another square since the ones I showed you last time. So I didn't bring that up at all because I already, if you wanted to see my squares, you can look at last episode. But I do have one crochet project. I have still been working a little bit on my blanket. And I took out my minis that was on my last magic knot ball and put that in my totals because I'm making up a magic knot ball, weighing it, and once I crochet that all the way in, I'll take it out of my totals because I already weighed this whole blanket. So last time I was where this wooden marker is. So because I was just starting that, I think, final color of my last mini magic knot ball. So I've added in one more color and I'm on another one. And then this marker down here is when I picked it up in April. This is from April all the way. This is where I started in May, this marker. So I knit or crocheted about maybe what, 5-6 inches in a month. Again, I don't work on this every day and I don't work on it for very long. Crocheting kind of hurts my hands more than knitting does. Hurts my wrists, just the way I do it. But yeah, so it's not very long. It's about 18, 19 inches right now, I think. But I'm gonna love it when it gets all done. And again, I'm using basically leftovers sock yarn, at least 20 grams. They're roughly 20 gram minis. Some of them might be a little over, some might be a little under. It's either leftovers from socks or mini skeins that I have. And this is my current, I just did 8 colors or 4 colors again in this ball. So it's about 80 grams total. I'm on the second color that was in this ball. And then there's 2 more. So it gets to this blue green and then this like, I don't know, lighter color in the middle. And then I'll have to make up another ball. But yeah, I'm loving it. Still working on it. So I don't know, when it gets warmer out, we'll see. I get cold in air conditioning though, so we'll see how much I work on it because it has to kind of sit on my lap. This one's a little warmer because its crochet is just thicker. All right, my next whip that's been getting more attention other than like sock designs and all the sock whips, and I do have another pattern out to testers right now, so don't worry, there's always stuff in the background going on. This was I didn't bring up the pattern today, but I showed the picture of it last time. This is the April cardigan from Petite Knits. And I have, where's my marker? Way up here. So since last time, I have separated for sleeves. So I got all my creases done, and I've separated for sleeves, and I've knit quite a bit of the body. I'm going to make it longer than the pattern calls for. I don't know how long yet. We'll just have to wait and see. This one is made from Woolberry Fiber Co. in her sport weight base. It's bread because it's a brown red, and I love this color. So it's, I think I talked about this last time. The pattern's written for like a light fingering with mohair, technically a DK weight gauge, but the gauge is 21 stitches, I want to say, per 4 inches, and I got that with sport weight on US 6s or 4mm needles. Ugh, my hair. My hair's got a different kind of curl because I had it in pigtail braids with track meets and other things, went out in the wind, and I just took them out this morning, so it's got a crimpy curl instead of its natural curl. All right, then my last whip I just started yesterday. This is, let's see, do I have the tag? I do. Nope, I don't. Okay, well, I have the tag for the mini, which isn't really a mini. It's Stroll, Nitpick Stroll Fingering and Midnight Heather. Leftovers, I've already used this skein for something else before. And then the yarn is Mustache Yarn in the colorway Ready Player One. I have knit a pair of socks for my sister-in-law out of this yarn because she really liked that book. And now I'm making my son a pair with the leftovers. I think I had about 60 grams left total. And he likes tall socks, so I'm knitting them toe up. But yeah, so I'm knitting these for him because his birthday is coming up in June. So these will be his birthday socks. And like I said, he loves Ready Player One and Ready Player Two. He likes those books. He rereads books that he likes, and I don't know how many times he's read those ones. And that's in my new bag that I showed last time from, what is it? Barley and Pearls. My library card bag. Because these are book themed socks too, since Ready Player One is book. All right. All right, so that's all for my whips. So like I said, they're mostly knitting, a little bit of crochet. Oh, and the sock, for this sock for my son, I'm just going to do, I did toe up, I'm doing a 3x1 rib, and I'm going to do an afterthought heel, and it just depends on how long I get the sock, and if I have the self-striping left, I'll put the self-striping in the heel. If not, I'll just use the mini, because he likes really tall socks. So we'll see how tall they get. Now we'll go on to acquisitions. All right, so for acquisitions, it is a bit heavy, but there was also LYS Day last Saturday, local bookstore last Saturday, and 2 weeks ago, or almost 2 weeks ago, the Saturday previous, so on the 20th of April, it was record store day. So yeah, I got a lot of those. Also, I ordered a pre-order of yarn from Farmer's Daughter Fiber. This was for the, is it the broom sweater? Is that what it's called? From Andrea Mowry. Came out where she was using the Farmer Daughter's Fibers Oh Dang DK. So soft, fluffy, wonderful yarn. My daughter loves fluffy sweaters, and I thought this would be a good one that we could kind of share because she likes her things oversized. She's smaller than me, but you know, I'm not huge, so I could make it a size that I would like and she would wear it as well. So I got 4 skeins in a pre-order. It wasn't very long pre-order. It was maybe from the time I ordered it, I think it was maybe 1 to 2 weeks before I got it. They're up in Great Falls, Montana, so it's not that far to ship. But this is the colorway Teton. But yeah. And it was a little bit of a discount if you got the pre-order. This was a long time ago, but I think there was a little bit of discount on the yarn And then there was also a discount on her pattern at the same time. So I bought both. And it'll be a fuzzy sweater. Probably not going to make it until the fall just because I don't really want to work on Surrey alpaca silk right now. It's just getting a little warm. But that was like a big purchase. That was 400 grams that came in. And then I also got from another local Montana maker. You might have seen this a few times. I've been sipping on it. This is from Stone Cottage Pottery and Farm. Patty makes beautiful mugs, and she had a few, not a very big one, but a few. You're getting glare from my window. I'm sorry about that, but she's got these new ones where she kind of like, I am not even sure how she does this, but I have other ones that have like snowflakes, and I don't really have a lot of like summery mugs, and this was like, what does she call this? Meadow something, but you know, more flowers. I love it. My son helped me pick out this design. He liked this one the best. So this was with the brown stoneware, I believe. She had a red stoneware and then porcelain ones too. I say get on her mailing list because she'll do an update to newsletter subscribers the night before she releases it to everybody else. And that way you can get, a lot of times they might sell out even before she has the ability, just from newsletter subscribers. So if you want one of hers, get on her newsletter. But yeah, she's from Montana as well. Another small Montana maker. And then we'll do record store day because that was more recent. We went down to Cameron Records, the record store that we frequent here in town. Picked up a few albums. We grabbed I don't know which one side's the top and bottom, but we grabbed Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Classic. Everybody needs it in their collection. And we didn't have it. I mean, I think we had it on CD, but we don't listen to our CDs. Our one stereo that plays CDs is in the basement. And I don't think anybody they usually just plug their phones into that one to use the speakers. I mean, we could throw our CDs out there so people could listen to CDs, but so that one. And then my daughter picked out a Vampire Weekend. This I think is their first album. They're self-titled. And then I got another, this is the Pixies album that I really wanted. Cover up the nudity on the front. But this is Surfer Rosa by the Pixies. And this is my favorite Pixies album. So yeah, that's what we picked up from local record store day. We also got, we got there kind of late because my son had a soccer game. So we didn't get any of the special, like there was a Noah Kahan release that was special that my daughter wanted. But by the time we got there, they didn't have it. So yeah, we couldn't get that. Bummers, but oh well. And then we did both local bookstore day and local yarn store day last weekend. I didn't bring up the book my son got. He got Neil Gaiman's something mythology. I don't know. But that's what he bought. And I bought, this was from our local bookstore downtown. It is blanking me. I will link it below. Totally blanking on what the name is. Anyway, so I bought the fourth book. So I had the trilogy of the Red Rising books. It was originally a trilogy, and I think since then he has released 3 more. So this is book 4. I am on book 3 right now. So this will be the next one that I read. Again, if I keep reading them in that order. And then I know me and my daughter both like to read Sarah J. Maas books. She's currently reading the Throne of Glass series. I've already read that one. I'm not going to have her read the Actar series yet because that one's even more spicy. But I do have, this is the second book of the City, Crescent City series. I have the first one. I haven't started it yet. They're big books. So I haven't started that one yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to start that one before I go into this or not, but I also have some other books that I want to read. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I got the second book of that. So I'm ready when I do start, or if my daughter gets to it before me. You know, this summer she might read a lot. And then for local yarn store day, I went down to the yarn bar because they're our local yarn store, and they were packed. They had a great day. It was awesome. Standing in line forever to check out. I always just like, I mean, I go for their special events just to support, but I also, of course, go throughout the year, and I teach there often. So, but so I wanted to do, actually, let me go show you. So I think my very first episode, I was wearing this sweater because I had just finished it beforehand. And it is a self-drafted pattern. I haven't decided if I'm going to write it up yet because I'd have to do grading and stuff. But I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm not going to do this, but the neckline on my next one's not going to be the same. But I'm going to do a similar, like, striped, but make it a t-shirt. But it'll basically be the same numbers, so I can just go off my notes from when I drafted this one. Because this is fingering weight. And yeah, I will be using, I wanted to try the Wool Dreamers Sonona. I don't know how you pronounce that. But it is 50% Manchego wool and 50% algodon. I thought it was 50% cotton. Algodon de Andulakfa. I don't know. I thought it was 50 cotton, 50 wool. It feels like there's cotton in there, but I don't know what again, I don't speak other languages. Yeah, so I wanted to give that a try. These are 50-gram balls. I got 3 of the color Guthrie. And then for my stripes, I just got like the natural color Notes. So hopefully that should be enough for a t-shirt for me. Usually I can get a t-shirt out of about less than 200 grams of fingering weight, which is what this is. So we'll see. We'll just start knitting and see how it goes. I might pass that on before too long because I do want to knit a t-shirt. I don't wear my t-shirts very often though. But most of them are 100% wool, and that might be why. So I thought maybe a 50-50 wool cotton blend. And depending on how well I like that yarn, I would love to make a lightweight cardigan for in the like spring and summer, because I get chilly, especially in air conditioning, and it'd be nice to have a lightweight something to throw on. All right, so that's all of the acquisitions and all of the knitting. So now we'll go into some reading, watching, and then some life stuff to finish off. Let's see, reading, I finished, let's get my pile of books here. I finished the Golden Sun. This was the second book in the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. I didn't like it as much as the first book, but I liked it enough to keep going with the series. I also think that my son will really like these, so hopefully he'll start reading them before too long. He goes through books like lickety-split, though, when he starts reading, so we'll see. And then I also finished on my Libby app for my library. I finished The Gunslinger, which is the first book of the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. It was all right. I'll probably at least I'm gonna try to check out the next one in the series. I'm on the list to borrow that one. It's just something I listen to in the background when I'm doing other things. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But then when I did decide to start the third book of the Red Rising series for my at-home reading. So this is Morning Star. This is the third book of Red Rising. And so far so good. I think the main reason I started this one right away is because the other one left me off at a big cliffhanger. And I was like, what? So they did what they're supposed to do and they got me hooked to read the next one. So started the next one. And then I just started yesterday when I started knitting those socks for my son, Ready Player One. I started reading Ready Player One. This one is our copy that we've had because my son's read it a lot. In the house, I'm actually listening to it on the Libby app. A lot of times I don't get through my books in 14 days, so I have to like check it out if I can. Sometimes it takes a while. So what I might do is, if it takes a while, I might start reading it from where I left off on the Libby app, and then once I can get it checked out again, I'll listen to it again. The Audible version of it is read by Will Wheaton, so it's kind of fun. And is already, I'm not very far into it. It's different from the movie. If you've seen the movie, it is very different, and I've heard that from other people that have read it, but also my son. But my son really likes it, so I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. Watching, we as a family watched Pretty in Pink because I had given my daughter her Pretty in Pink socks, Pretty in Pink rainbow socks, and I was just on that John Hughes kick, and so I talked about that in the last podcast about being John Hughes. So we watched Pretty in Pink as a family. And then I watched on HBO Max The Outsider, which is like mini series about the Stephen King novel The Outsider, and it's really good. I really enjoyed it. It's quite gory. So if you don't, but it's HBO always seems to have more gore than any other thing, but it's quite gory. When it's a gory part, is gory, but I really enjoyed it. We also discovered that they have Mythbusters on HBO Max, which we just recently got HBO Max. So we're kind of discovering what's on there. And we watched it a long time ago when it was on maybe Netflix or something. The kids always loved it and they would rewatch things. So that's something that my husband and my son, because my daughter had been really busy. So if we had time together, we'd watch some episodes of that. I watched Tick, Tick, Boom. I want to say that one was on Netflix. It's the story of, is it Jonathan Larson? Is that his name? Story of the guy that wrote Rent. It's kind of his self-biographical musical. But anyways, yeah, my daughter said it was good. And she loves musicals and I don't mind musicals. So I watched that. And then I'm still watching Taskmaster on YouTube, plus all the like knitting podcasts that I watch on YouTube. If you guys are ever curious about what other podcasts I watch on YouTube, just ask. I don't usually talk about those because there's just so many that I kind of come in and out of. And sometimes some of the ones I watch, they only release an episode every like month or 3 months, it seems like sometimes. And other ones are more regular. And some that I used to watch, I don't really watch so much anymore. So I'm kind of in and out on those. And then I'll finish off with a little bit of life stuff. Yeah, we had track meets have started up. So we've been to a few track meets with my son. And he's had soccer games. Didn't have one last weekend because they were off because the park where the fields are at was busy being used for something else, but this weekend they'll have one. He loves soccer. My daughter had her play last week. They did Little Women. She was on costume and then was one of the grips during the play. So changing set pieces and stuff during between scenes. They did good for, I knew the background story of they lost their drama. They don't have like a drama teacher, it's a drama club at their school, and the faculty member that was running that no longer works there. And so the guy that does lighting for all the productions and sound, I think, for all the productions, he graduated last year. I think he goes to college here locally. He ended up having to direct it. So it was just, they pulled it off, and a lot of long nights, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears really went into that, and they pulled it off. They did a really good job. And now my daughter is a drama kid for life, she says. So that's cool. And then, what else is going on? I mean, it's the last month of school. They'll be getting done at the end of May here. So just all that stuff. Just, yeah. I don't have any classes that I have coming up to teach or anything. Oh, I did want to talk about, I have it back here. I pulled it out of my box. So every month I do a mystery sock yarn. And I figured it's close enough to the beginning of the month. I don't always start it right out on the first of the month, but I always try to open it sometime in the month and then use that yarn. So I'll probably, these will be my next socks that I cast on. But at the beginning of the year, my daughter and I went through, I'm looking over at all my sock yarn stash. My daughter and I went through sock yarns and tried to pick out sock yarns randomly, and then we put them in paper bags. I sealed them up, I put them away, and then every month I just go grab one randomly. Sorry for crinkles. Let's see what's in this one. Ooh, this one is, I read this book not that long ago. So this one is the fairy tale, Stephen King, September 2022 club from Bumblebee Acres Fiber Farm. And this is their Coquette sock, which is a superwash Corriedale, 20 or 75% superwash Corriedale and 25% nylon. It makes nice, warm, thick socks. And I don't have the book up here to show you, but this is very much the colors of the book. I read that book earlier this year. So yeah, that's fun. So this will be my next socks. It will probably be socks for me because one, I read the book, and two, I've made socks with this yarn for my husband, and they do felt a little bit easier than my other regular sock yarn. It's warmer, but he just has sweatier feet, and so he can felt socks more. So these might be socks for me. We'll see. But I'll probably just use this full, like, not have contrast colors. Yay, so that's exciting. I have a new sock to cast on. I think that's just about everything. I think I've rambled on for long enough. I hope you guys had a really good 2 weeks. I hope you have a good next 2 weeks. Yeah, I can't believe it's already May. Where has the time gone? It's incredible. Incredible. Yeah. All right. Happy making, guys. Bye.